part of the Ozark, the Fouke Monster, and beyond. The oldest settlement in the Ozark Mountains is a topic of interest, and while I couldn't find a specific name, I did discover some fascinating information about the region's early history. The Ozark Mountains have been inhabited with Native American tribes such as the Osage, Quapaw, and Cherokee. They were among the first settlers. The region was later inhabited by European settlers, including French explorers, who arrived in the early 19th century. One of the earliest European settlements in the Ozark region was the Arkansas Post, a military outpost established near the confluence of the Mississippi and Arkansas rivers. However, this settlement was not specifically located in the Ozark Mountains. Ozark, Arkansas has a rich history dating back to the early 19th century. Founded in 1836, the city is situated at the most northern bend of the Arkansas River, which played a significant role in its development. The name Ozark originates from the French words "au arc," meaning at the bend. The city's early history is tied to the Louisiana Purchase, which led to increased travel and settlement along the Arkansas River. American military personnel and traders used the river as a route, and the Cherokee tribe lived along its banks. One of the city's founders, William Hale, served as its first postmaster when the post office opened in 1837. The city was officially incorporated in 1850, and by the late 1800s, it had become a thriving agricultural trade center. Ozark's legacy is also marked by its resilience in the face of challenges. During the Civil War, the city suffered significant damage, but it was rebuilt, and its economy continued to grow. The city's history is also preserved through its historic buildings, including two homes that survived the Civil War and are still standing today. Fouke and the Fouke Monster. The Fouke Monster, a Bigfoot-type creature, has been a part of the Arkansas folklore since the 1950s, with reported sightings in and around Fouke, Arkansas. Described as a large, hairy, bipedal creature, it's said to stand between 6 to 8 feet tall and weigh around 300 to 500 pounds. The movie Legend of Boggy Creek is based off of this creature. The first reported sighting dates back to 1908, but it gained widespread attention in the early 1970s. In 1971, the Texarkana Gazette and the Texarkana Daily News published articles about the creature, which was dubbed the Fouke Monster by journalist Jim Powell. One of the most notable incidents was the alleged attack on the home of Bobby and Elizabeth Ford on May 2nd, 1971.
What began as an ordinary evening for the Ford family quickly spiraled into one of the most infamous encounters with the creature. Bobby and Elizabeth Ford, along with their family, had only recently moved into their home near the Sulphur River bottoms when strange and terrifying events began to unfold. Elizabeth Ford was the first to sense something was wrong. As she lay in bed, she noticed the curtains rustling at the window. What she saw next would haunt her for the rest of her life. A large, hairy arm, covered in thick, dark fur, reached through the open window. Its claws scraped against the wood, and its red eyes, glowing like embers, stared back at her. Elizabeth's screams alerted her husband, Bobby, and his brother, Don. The two men grabbed their shotguns and rushed outside, where they spotted the creature lurking in the darkness. They fired several shots, thinking they had wounded it, but the beast vanished into the night without a trace. Despite the lack of blood or any other physical proof, the terror experienced by the Fords was undeniable. Later that night, the creature returned, and this time it was more aggressive. As Bobby Ford approached the porch, the monster attacked him, throwing him to the ground and leaving him with deep gashes across his back. In a state of shock, Bobby managed to break free and ran straight through the front door, too terrified to stop. Bobby was taken to the St. Michael Hospital in Texarkana and treated for large gashes across his back. The morning after the terrifying events at the Ford residence, the story of the strange encounter began to take on a life of its own. Reporters from the Texarkana Gazette and the Texarkana Daily News quickly picked up the tale, eager to share the chilling details with their readers. It was in these early reports that the creature was first referred to as the Fouke Monster. From that point on, the legend spread like wildfire. The story was picked up by the Associated Press and United Press International wire services, and soon newspapers across the nation were reporting on the bizarre happenings in this small town in Miller County, Arkansas. What started as a local story quickly became a national sensation, captivating the imagination of people far beyond the town's borders. Only days after moving into their new home, the Ford family decided they could no longer stay. They packed up and left, never to return. The story of their encounter spread quickly, making headlines across the nation and turning the Fouke Monster into a legend that would capture the imagination of many.
According to Elizabeth Ford, the creature reached through a screen window, prompting her husband and his brother to chase it away. The incident left behind 3-toed footprints, scratch marks on the porch, and damage to a window and the house's siding. The Fouke Monster's legend was further popularized by the 1972 docudrama horror film, The Legend of Boggy Creek, which became a cult classic. The film's success led to several sequels and spin-offs. Fouke, Arkansas itself has a rich history dating back to the early 19th century. The town was founded in the 1820s and was named after a local family. The area's natural resources, including timber and minerals, drove economic growth, and the town became a major shipping point for cotton and other agricultural products. Today, Fouke is a small town with a population of around 800 people. Despite its size, the town remains famous for the Fouke Monster, attracting tourists and crypto freaks around the world. If you are interested in learning more about the Fouke Monster, I recommend checking out Lyle Blackburn's book, Boggy Creek's Casebook, which provides an in-depth look at the creature's history and sightings. We explored the Ozark Mountains, discussing the region's rich history, cultural heritage, and natural beauty. We touched on the smallest mountain town in the Ozarks. We delved into the fascinating story of the Fouke Monster, a Bigfoot-type creature reportedly sighted in and around Fouke, Arkansas since the 1950s. We examined newspaper articles and the history of Fouke, including its founding and growth into a major shipping point for cotton and farming products. As we end our journey through the Ozark Mountains, let's leave you with a haunting tale of the Fouke Monster. Imagine yourself wandering through the dense forests and winding streams of the Ozarks, the moon casting eerie shadows on the trees. Suddenly, you hear a rustling in the underbrush, and the Fouke Monster emerges, its eyes glowing in the darkness. As you stand frozen in awe, the creature begins to move closer, its massive strides eating up the distance. You feel the ground tremble beneath your feet, and the air grows thick with otherworldly presence. And then, just as suddenly as it appeared, the Fouke Monster vanishes into the night, leaving you to wonder if it was real or just a product of your imagination. The Ozark Mountains hold many secrets, and the Fouke Monster remains one of its most enduring mysteries. Whether you believe in its existence or not, the legend of the Fouke Monster continues to captivate and inspire, reminding us that there's still magic to be found in the unlikeliest of places. Thank you for listening, guys.